everyone from Chelsea Fan TV, my name is Alex. Before you watch the fan cams, shout out to the sponsor FOCO. It's a little bit dark. I don't have the Hawaiian shirt on, apologies for that. But you've seen some of what they can offer. There is much, much more. Click the link down below, use the code cfctvyt to get a 15% discount off of all things FOCO. Even if it's not Chelsea, you might be a Servette fan watching this, or I don't know who you support. I'm guessing you're a Chelsea fan. You can scan the QR code as well. There might be something for you. Anything Chelsea, anything football, lots of different merch. Check it out, guys. Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex. I'm outside Stamford Bridge after a 2-0 win against Servette. Nina, first on the fan cams today. We were first on the score sheet. We managed to get a second one as well, both in the second half. We went in at half time. A lot of question marks. Did we address those question marks, or really is it still underwhelming?
I think we added a few more question marks, but hey, like, we kind of know that this is how it's starting out. But yeah, Conference League debut. It was excited to get down here. Obviously, Enzo Maresca's first win as Chelsea boss, so that's important to note. I think a lot of fans will be disappointed a little bit with how the game went, but obviously, ultimately, result was important in the end. And look, we know that there was a lot of things that went wrong, but I'm not going to be the fan, perhaps, that sits outside here tonight and dwells on all our problems and salams the team, condemns the team, because as we've seen, a lot of rival fans have done that. You know, you get a lot of different media outlets doing that, and it's just all a lot of noise around Chelsea at the moment. And actually, do you know what happened today at half time? I
had a beer.
Well, you had a beer, but there was an argument down in Matthew Harden among Chelsea fans. And seriously, and I looked at us and I kind of thought, because, you know, there was booze, right, at half time, and I understand that, you know, it was below par. It was disappointing that we expected a little bit more against Servette tonight, but we shouldn't be booing the team. Seriously, it's game 2. It's game 2. Please just support the team, Chelsea fans, because this is going to be it, right? We've kick-started with a new manager. Things are difficult. This is basically our second game, and he's tried completely pretty much a new starting 11, because a lot of the players that featured kind of came on against Manchester City but made their full debuts tonight, and, you know, it was tricky. It was difficult, but...
Chelsea!
Yes, that's right. Support the team. But yeah, can I just start off by saying Servette were pretty good. They surprised me tonight. I think they deserve the credit. They came out and they pretty much maintained that intensity throughout the 90 minutes. So I can only imagine for them as fans and as a club the adrenaline of coming to London, to Stamford Bridge to play Chelsea. And they did a pretty good job. I thought at times in the first half, if they had the quality up front to finish the chances they created, they would have been the ones first on the score sheet. So yeah.
I mean, I just want to come back to what you said earlier about half-time, the booze. I completely agree with you. I don't understand why we're booing the players. I mean, I can understand you might not like it. Just don't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't help. It won't help. It won't change things. And Maresca's obviously the guy that's given the instructions and the thing. And look, I get it. Somewhere down the line, if things continue to be bad and, you know, we're in this spiral that we were last season, the season before, then we can have conversations and we can criticise, but not on game 2, please.
Do you even think that we can have this conversation after 6 months? Because the transition this club is going through, it's not a transition because we keep changing managers. So I feel like we just keep going back to square one. All right, players are settling under certain managers.
Yeah.
Then we're getting a new manager. I mean, I just heard the other day, it's completely random, we sacked the head of venue at Chelsea. He'd worked here for 27 years.
Yeah.
And this has been the case for so many people at the club. It's just been stripped right back. And for people to expect it to be the same old club that it was before, I find very difficult to understand how that could be the case when everything's different, right? Players can certainly come together, management absolutely as well, but I just think it's a little bit different to what it was maybe 20 years ago when we were able to spend money and just be successful off the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get it's exhausting to keep kind of saying give time, because we've now said this for the, third, fourth time. You know, Alex, I thought the other day when I first started doing fan cams, I was sitting here, standing outside after we beat West Ham, telling you, let's give Thomas Tuchel time now with this team so we can get competitive in the Premier League, right? Because he took us to that Champions League glory and it felt so good, but then we were ready for that next step. But that was completely stripped, and then we started from scratch with Potter, and then that was stripped again, and then we started from scratch, and you get it just kind of kept going. So it is really hard, I get it, to kind of keep saying give time, but ultimately we've got no other choice. So get behind the team, because if you boo, nothing really will change. These players need to feel comfort. A lot of them are very young, they've barely experienced it at this very high level, and we talk about it. We don't want it to be a case where our players don't want to come and play at home because they're scared that the fans will boo them. That will just hinder their confidence. So yeah, get behind the team, but overall let's make it a little bit more positive, because we did win again. But yeah, I do get the frustrations. At times the side-to-side football in the first half wasn't good enough. I do feel we need to be a bit more direct. We need to take it upon ourselves to shoot, because what we do is we get into that final third, a player will have the opportunity to shoot, but they'll lay it off to another player, or they'll hand over the responsibility to another player, and that really just does need to be better. If you see an opportunity to shoot, just do it. You never know. We've seen teams time and time again score when they just have a go. Let's try it ourselves. That's what I want to see more of this season.
Yeah, I mean, Conor Gallagher's obviously gone to Atletico Madrid. Dewsbury-Hall seems to be the direct replacement for him from Leicester. I mean, what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, look, again, I think I'll judge him in the Premier League. I want to see what he's going to do in the Premier League, because I think that's where the real challenge for him is. Obviously, he's got some good attributes. I liked some of the things I saw tonight, especially in the first half, where he'd try and kind of take the ball up until the end and try to cross rather than pass back, like we saw multiple times. I do think he is perhaps a bit less kind of physically gifted, where he can be pushed off the ball a little bit too easily, which again, I think that in the Premier League might cause him to struggle. But again, I'm opening to see that open goal that everyone's talking about where Mark Guiu missed. It's probably the easiest chance you'll be able to put away in your life, and I'm almost sad for him, because had he scored that, it's a different conversation. We talk about that, but I think with him is he has his back to the defenders way too much, where he tries to turn and he gets pushed off the ball. I think he needs to try and figure out those spaces that he can get to receive the ball and then drive and shoot. And I think far too many times he traps himself between two defenders, and then he can't really do anything else.
I want to see him drop into the pockets.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see that, because he's physical. He is someone that is quite quick as well. He's a big guy, and I think that is a physical presence you should use to the max. But again, I do worry. And should we frankly be expecting an 18-year-old to be bagging us goals? He might not be ready, but we're ultimately placing this responsibility on him and Jackson if we don't bring in a striker before the window closes.
I mean, Mudryk's another one. Lots of question marks. For me, pre-season killed me. Especially that shot that's been all over Twitter, him going over the bar.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ. But Maresca's starting him, and he's certainly going to start him ahead of Sterling now. He's out of the picture. I think these games are probably quite good for Mudryk, but at the same time, we need to capitalise, we need to take our chances. This used to be the case in the Europa League when Sarri was our manager. We'd rotate and we'd still win comfortably, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think that it's good to get minutes. I think, again, we keep repeating that, but minutes are so important. Like, when is the last time Mudryk got a full 90? And today he did, and perhaps a lot of fans, including maybe myself, thought it could have been sensible to perhaps bring him off a little bit earlier, but Maresca didn't, and that's interesting, because he kind of pushed him, encouraged him, because I think with Mudryk, I think a lot of our previous managers as well stripped his confidence a little bit by seeing him make mistakes and then bringing him off, and it's almost like this is your consequence, this is your punishment. And I think Maresca's kind of encouraging to see how he perhaps treats this kind of pressure where he's underperforming, but it's that kind of boost encouragement, like keep doing it, because he does the pretty things, doesn't it? How many times did we see him kind of meg a player, or do that little cool trick and flick? But then again, it's that final decision, and you watch him and you think, Mudryk, are you going to make the right decision? And kind of 6 out of 10 times it's maybe not the right decision. And I think that this is it. It's a bit too inconsistent, but this is, I think, the season where Mudryk now just really does need to show it all, because when do you kind of stop saying, oh, it's potential, he's got potential, let him develop it, because I believe this is his second year now at Chelsea.
Well, actually, he joined technically 2.5 years,
Yeah, well, there you go. So it's like, when do we stop saying that? For the price tag he came in as well. Bearing in mind, I don't agree with the value that he kind of was placed with, 100 million when we kind of brought him in, or just under that. When you value a player that much, you ultimately place pressure on him, right? Because 100 million players shouldn't be making mistakes. They shouldn't take 2-3 seasons to settle into a team, but, Mudryk does. And the talent is there. It's just very raw, and it's very hit and miss. So I'm not too sure. It's a big question mark, but it's up to Enzo Maresca to work out. But on the other flank, Mudryk came on and looked bright. Really brilliant assist from Enzo Fernandez as well, who, again, see what happens when you pass forward. Magic! You know, you pass forward, you look forward, it's so much better. It leads to a goal. And again, Mudryk, his confidence you can see just growing and growing. I saw his celebration, he kind of pointed at himself like, yeah, who else?
The fans were chanting his name, he was loving it.
He was loving it, he was saying, yeah, continue on. You know, another guy that just thrives from the fans and had a really good pre-season, a positive one as of that. So you can see improvements in certain players, but there are still a lot of question marks. And while I'm really happy, relieved with this score tonight, I am a little bit worried about Wolves. I can't lie to you, because it's not like we figured out a starting 11. Again, this is a bit of an experiment, isn't it? Maybe he might go with what he put out against City. Maybe he might change it based off what he saw tonight. But that's a little bit of a worrying place to be, you know, because Wolves are always that they're our tough team, aren't they? We always struggle a little bit against Wolves. And again, you know, we've obviously got Pedro Neto, so I guess we've kind of disarmed them in that regards. But again, they've got a lot more to punish us. Did the double over us last season, and arguably probably two of our worst games last season. Was it 4-2 or 4-1 at the Bridge and 2-0 I think away, something like that. But yeah, it's got to be better. And I think that these question marks and this lack of kind of connection we have as a cohesion as a team, I think could be exploited. But yeah, I'd love to see a result. But please, I have just one demand to you Chelsea fans: just get behind the team and support them, because it's game 3. And frankly, we have a whole season to go through. Domestic competitions, Europe now if we qualify. I mean, that should be pretty much done and dusted now. But I think it will still be hard when we go away to Geneva. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to have a full house out there. They obviously play really well. They look fit. They look like they didn't even stop at any point. You know, they were 2-0 down and they continue to try and put chances away. And yeah, they weren't scared at all. They were not reserved the slightest bit. They did not play counter-attacking football. They were constantly on us. So yeah,
do you think that's testament to them, or we need to defend better? Because a lot of question marks about our backline, even with the clean sheet.
I think it's a mixture of both, certainly, because I think defensively we did leave a lot of space. We were very easily kind of exploited, very vulnerable. And again, that invites opposition. It says, oh look, we can hit them there, right? And again, had they been a bit more clinical, great. And this is where my praise for Jorgensen comes in. Yeah. What a keeper! He's my number one. No, I'm joking. But
no, it's not a bad argument.
It's not a bad argument. Great saves, I think. Looks quite confident. Again, maybe wasn't tested so much, but towards the second kind of the latter stages of the second half, I think he put in a shift. You know, equally could have conceded a goal. So fair enough. I think he got a pretty high rating as well, which again is a testament to how good his display was. But let's see. I think Enzo's got a good decision there to make, because we know that our goalkeeper has been a hot topic for the longest time, but it needs to be worked out, and I'd rather it be sooner than later, so we can start building that relationship between our defenders and our goalkeepers, because it's so important at the end of the day. You can't keep chopping and changing your goalkeeper, and frankly for the last kind of year we've not really known who our best goalkeeper's been, right? I mean, Petrovic, but now he arguably doesn't fit the system. I really liked him last season, but I understand that Maresca prefers Sanchez. He fits the system, but so does Jorgensen, right? Because you wouldn't have paid the amount of money you did, and you wouldn't have brought him in if he wasn't fit to be a first teamer. So let the competition begin.
I mean, if we're going with that, I mean, Mike Penders could be our number one. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Bettinelli in as well. I want him to have a try.
I don't understand the logic behind signing the keepers. I mean, it has to be financial, right?
Yeah.
But then I think we actually spent a lot of money on these keepers. So how much are they really going to be worth? I mean, where do you see that vision? And are they going to increase that value at Strasbourg? So I struggle to understand that side of things. For me, I'd love to see more of Tosin at the back. For me, he was probably one of the bright sparks. I mean, we had Vega inverting. We also had Gusto coming in as well in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, which defenders do you look at and say, I trust you in a Chelsea shirt? Because Badia Shields made a lot of mistakes. There's questions about Disasi's pace, whether he fits into this system.
Yeah.
Where do you look at this defence and go, I trust you?
Trust is earned, right? And I wouldn't say that I look at perhaps, I'll talk about our centre-backs more, because I think I've gained more trust in like Malo Gusto and Marco Corella, because again, they've been with us, they've kind of performed week in, week out. But when it comes to our centre-backs, I can't sit here and tell you right now what our best centre-back duo is. I can't. And I don't think Maresca's worked out either. But, I think that it's a welcome kind of issue to have, because there is talent there. You mentioned Tosin, he's done it in the Premier League, been solid at the back for Fulham. You mentioned Wesley Fofana, we've paid so much money for him. Again, someone that had experience at this level before he got injured. Disasi, I think, again, has had hot and cold moments, but you look at him and you think, can you now be consistent and build on this? But Badiashile, again, I'm positive when he came in, he was one of our best players, but then had a little bit of a kind of a negative dip when he got injured, and then perhaps wasn't really favoured. But I can't tell you honestly who I trust the most. Again, I need to see more. I want to see more, but again, it needs to also be consistent. Keep saying again, but do you know what I mean? Because again, you don't want to chop and change your centre backs too much, but I can't really tell you right now who our best duo is there.